Welcome back. In the previous lecture, we discussed the adaptation to a national policy and planning style, dealing with political clients, and the participation of actors and stakeholders. In this part, we will discuss three more issues: basic program management, program refinement, and last but not least, dealing with uncertainties. It may go without saying that traditional project thinking elements such as time management, goal achievement monitoring, and budget keeping are pivotal to keep the engine running smoothly. The first step is structuring your information flows. From a central mission control, the total performance of the projects must be monitored and, if necessary, corrected. Information management could take the form of a dashboard, a little modest than the Houston control, of course, which displays all relevant parameters. The way separate projects feed information into the dashboard must be structured as part of the program architecture. Even when responsibility and responsibilities for the projects are decentralized, it is important that structured information reaches mission control. Providing structured information is easier when the planning process is cut up in distinct steps. In some countries, planning laws may apply that provide this structure for the entire process in the various projects, from their inception, analysis, design phase, the environmental impact statement, and the execution phase. Because each step typically takes a fixed amount of time that can be placed on a timeline. Budgeting may be made dependent on completion of specific phases. If such a structure is missing, include it in the program architecture and have your political client approve it. Time management is only possible when an organizational structure like this is included in the program architecture. Last but not least, the projects together must be able to achieve the program's goal set at the outside of the program, such as water safety goals in terms of discharge of a normative high water situation, or in terms of local mean high water reduction. Of other non-ponderable goals, such as spatial quality, must be communicated to these responsible in the program. Then, program refinement. Well, I would say extras can be superimposed on top of the basic program management, as accessories, if you wish, extras that may elevate your program to the level of excellence. First, a program may benefit from creating a sense of team spirit. The idea that all the different actors involved are together to complete this task. Collective knowledge meetings on project topics work in two ways, enhancing both capacity and team spirit. Periodic working visits from the program director to the shop floor of the projects make the program level visible and facilitate practical matters to be communicated between program and projects. Dependent on the country's planning context, it is important to select the right level of integral working. Involving different sectors can sometimes improve projects by acting as a sort of lubricant in the process. However, striving to a complete comprehensive tableau of sectors could make things unnecessarily complex and prove crippling to the process. Finding a balance to sectoral or too integral requires real helmsmanship. A program is a long-term engagement that allows for capacity building tailored to the river regulation work at hand. For example, Interdisciplinary cooperation between engineers, ecologists and designers can be enhanced by organizing studios between the disciplines to familiarize them with each other's language. This could enhance the quality of the project significantly. The goals achievement monitoring of the basic program management can gain in persuasiveness by making the quality assessment completely independent of the program directorate and outsourcing it to external, trusted organization. Next level program architecture is making it into a learning organization, which means creating a structure in which projects can learn from each other and adopt one another's innovations. With river management, one is well advised to look beyond the scope and the term of the program itself. A river management program is never finished because we are working with living material, a living river, and nature development in a living society. Nature development, for instance, will change the vegetation along the river and by that change the resistance to the water flow. A long-term strategy is needed to maintain the plant runoff characteristics. The maintenance question is ideally already addressed in the design stage of the separate projects by making the responsibility future maintenance actor one of the co-creators of the plan. The last issue we will discuss is dealing with uncertainty. And well, the term uncertainty seems to imply the existence of something resembling certainty. In a complex world, however, certainty is out of reach when planning a long-term program. The right heading for this paragraph might also have been dealing with complexity. One can reduce uncertainty, but one can't reduce complexity. There is a distinction to be made here. Reducing complexity mostly implies simplification and finding solutions to that reformulated simpler problem. For example, reducing the complex problem of climate change to only CO2 emissions. That is a simplification. And simplification may appear to work, maybe even work well at first, but unwanted side effects or even accidents may emerge later as some sort of fine. To some extent, reducing uncertainty can be done by more research in environmental factors such as the climate, getting better insights into motivation of other actors and organizations, and most difficult of all, reducing uncertainties about policies and values by developing a sort of antennae for changes in that field. While it is possible to reduce uncertainties, eliminating them is impossible and even undesirable. Not only because one learns along the way, but also because the long execution term of programs like this will provide surprises, uncertainties that cannot be foreseen and must be dealt with on the spot when they emerge. On a program level, however, risk can be reduced in a planned manner, recognizing ahead of time that your program will be hit by unexpected circumstances. That opens the possibility for making it more resilient to these shocks. Embrace uncertainty. There is no standard recipe, but a few tips we can give to deal with. Try from the start not to be pinned down on a fixed budget, but try to offer a rather broad range of costs at the outside and narrowing it down as the process progresses. The volatility of building prices, for instance, and other increased costs, that cannot be prevented, but they can be mitigated. If possible, take an excess of projects aboard in your program. Throughout the process, some projects will stall for a variety of reasons, local resistance and NIMBY being the main factor. A surplus of projects and alternatives provides the program with a plan B to fall back on. Cast out a wide net. Create a comprehensive inventory of possibilities to give more room to your river. When planned measures in a project prove to be unfeasible in practice, alternative measures make the project manager more flexible. More agile projects make the program stronger as a whole. Summarizing, the secret of a successful program might be a mix between planning and improvisation, between risk reduction and remaining flexible enough to deal with uncertainties. Well, let me give you some final remarks and try to draw some conclusions. Designing the program is more than simply stapling these 6 aspects together as chapters in a booklet that would produce a confusing or even unreadable product. It would also be denying that in every planning context these elements have multiple very specific relationships. To make it worthy of the name program architecture, these relationships must be considered when constructing the program to mold it into a coherent product that will be different in every cultural context, with every river, with every safety situation.